The news, good evening. Seychelles has registered 13 new COVID-19 cases when the health authorities retested crew from two Spanish fishing vessels. However, one of the two patients who were at the isolation center at the family hospital in Perseverance is being discharged today. This was announced this afternoon by the Public Health Commissioner, Dr. Jude Gédéon, during the weekly press conference.
In fact, the day before yesterday, we started the retesting crew from two vessels, and we picked up 9 Spanish crew that have tested positive, and 4 West African crew that have, in fact, 1 Kenyan and 1 West African crew, and 3 West African crew. So that makes 13. So if you add that to the 70, we have 83. However, of those who tested negative, who tested positive initially, the 6, 4 have turned negative now. The good thing is that they all remain asymptomatic. They are well on the vessels, and usually if you pass 2 weeks without any symptoms, it's unlikely that you will become ill from the illness. You just have to remain positive for some time. We also have 2 persons at the isolation center in Perseverance. One is being discharged today. The other one is recuperating. He hopefully by the end of the week he'll also be discharged. We continue to follow the contacts of the Marines, of the seafarers. Today is actually the 14th day, so we've started the testing of contacts, and we may pick up cases because the contact has been with a large number of people who are positive. So we may pick up new cases that we'll have to isolate and manage. We are working very hard to prepare, to work with organizations to prepare towards the reopening of our borders on the 1st of August. And all organizations have to be presenting their level of readiness using a matrix that has been distributed to all organizations. The first review will be on the 14th of July and the second on the 21st of July.
The Ministry of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Ports and Marine has launched a special travel advisory for visitors now that Seychelles will reopen its borders for commercial flights as of August the 1st. These guidelines have been set to ensure that when visitors arrive in Seychelles, the risks of importing COVID-19 cases in the country or risk of transmission, if any, are lessened. The guidelines are available on the website of the Ministry of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Ports and Marine.
As of August 1st, only visitors from low and medium risk countries listed on the Ministry of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Ports and Marine website will be able to travel to Seychelles. All visitors from low risk countries will have to show proof of a negative PCR test result issued within not more than 72 hours from the date of travel, or a negative rapid antigen test where PCR tests are not available. Whereas visitors from medium-risk countries will have to show proof of a negative PCR test within not more than 72 hours from the date of travel. All visitors will have to bear a full travel and health insurance for the duration of their stay in Seychelles. Visitors will only be allowed to stay at licensed accommodations or liveaboards that have been certified by the Department of Health and must present their vouchers at the immigration counter upon arrival. These places of accommodations already have their standard operations procedures in place to mitigate risks of transmission of the COVID-19 virus if ever there is an imported case. In addition, visitors will not be allowed to stay at private residences. Visitors may only use authorized transports as means of travel, and that does not include public buses. Further details about the advisory are available on the website of the Ministry of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Ports and Marine.
The private sector has presented a plan for national economic recovery which encompasses 7 main components. The presentation by the chairperson of the Chamber of Commerce took place this morning during the weekly high-level meeting between government and the private sector and chaired by President Danny Faure.
Present at the meeting at State House were ministers and high officials from the Department of Tourism, Finance, Employment, Central Bank, the Transition Program for Seychelles Workers and the Workers' Associations. The chairperson of the Chamber of Commerce, Oliver Bastien, said that the plan for national economic recovery had been well received by the committee.
This plan or this framework centers around 7 key pillars, which is enterprise capabilities to improve, scale up and innovate, deepen and diversify international trade and connectivity, industry transformation for current and emerging sectors, infrastructure development, acquisition of skills, digital growth and capabilities, and also partnership for inclusive dialogue with the private sector going forward.
There were also presentations on a new loan scheme for small and medium enterprises that do not meet the criteria for loans under the scheme initiated by Central Bank.
This loan that will be provided to them will be at a percentage of interest-free, so 0%. And the fact that you've got 98% of businesses in Seychelles being MSMEs, and they contribute 16% to our GDP and 41% to employment. I think today is a very positive day, and we're very happy that the government has listened to us with regards to our proposal, which was done by the Chamber of Commerce 3 or 4 weeks ago.
The private sector also proposed that the applications of businesses that were disqualified for assistance under the FA4GR be reconsidered by government.
A group of housekeepers from the Coral Strand Hotel went to the Employment Department this morning because they haven't yet received their salaries. They say they were supposed to get paid by the government 2 days ago, but they haven't received it yet. Senior Employment Officer Stephanie Boniface says that the Employment Department is aware of this issue and they are working closely with the Ministry of Finance and the hotel's general manager. She said the employees will receive their salaries by the end of this week. Another group of employees reported to Independence House building this morning because of the employment issues. More than 30 employees of the Qingjung International Group Development were complaining that they have not been paid their overtime and leave yet. Senior Employment Officer Stephanie Boniface says that they met with the company's owner yesterday and an investigation is underway. The difference in salary payments for those who have worked on tuna fishing vessels up to 2020 has started this week. This week, payment is only for those who have worked from 2014 to 2020. According to records, some 200 fishermen will be benefiting from this payment, which is being made at the SFA. It was last month that the SFA announced that the government, together with the European Union, will pay for those fishermen the difference in their salaries to make them in line with the ILO protocol because they were getting a salary that was below the norm set by the ILO. The Truth Commissioners have quizzed the police spokesman concerning the murder of Ricky Hermite nearly 15 years ago. Jean Toussaint was asked to respond to claims the stabbing victim had been under police surveillance at the time he died. He said he was unable to confirm the allegation, but revealed that he'd been observed by police days before his death.
Nearly 15 years after he first spoke publicly about the murder, police spokesman Jean Toussaint was asked by the panel today to dig deep into his memory and specifically how a man could have died if, as claimed, police had been watching him.
From your knowledge of the case, was Mr. Hermite under surveillance, under police surveillance?
I wouldn't know. I can't tell.
Ricky Hermite, who was 26, died after being stabbed repeatedly at Contobrook in October 2006. Back then, Jean Toussaint had briefed the media on the murder investigation. The killer was never found, despite police interest in Ricky Hermite in the days before he died.
No, the issue was about being under surveillance. But as far as I know, there was no such thing.
No assumptions
There was, if to the best of my knowledge, I think there were cases against him before court.
The case was brought by Mr. Emit's mother, Livette, who spent years seeking justice for her son. Today, Mr. Toussaint revealed that police were aware that he'd been seen travelling in a car 2 or 3 days before his death. Nonetheless, the killing remains an unsolved mystery.
And in another testimony, a former member of ex-President René's security has denied a harassment allegation. Daniel Waro was appearing before the commission to answer Henri Barallon's claim that he followed and intimidated him, but the former soldier said the allegation was malicious and based on an unrelated personal disagreement. And with this, we end this news summary. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant evening.